Expressing through the depths of your divine will, otherwise known as active meditation. One of the goals of what we call passive meditation, which is traditional meditation, is to bring us into a state of being outside of meditation known as active meditation, otherwise known as autotelic or divine will. In this particular discussion, we're going to talk about it from 4 perspectives, or 4 quotes: James Allen, Neville Goddard, and Florence Scovel Shinn. It is best to listen to this discussion right after a meditation. And the fundamental reason why is because all information is actually, in essence, communicating the same thing, and it is revealed via your own inner voice. Your inner voice, the one that I'm referring to, is not the voice of conflict, internal turmoil. It is the voice that reveals all things are possible. It's the voice that guides you back to what you already know. It's the voice that allows you to express and experience more flow and divine will on the journey to creating what you desire, or more specifically put, revealing what you desire in the already complete reality. James Allen says, "The will to do comes from the knowledge that we can do." The first step in understanding that we have the ability to create, or to express, or to bring forth, is the seed of belief that we can. This is always the start of any journey towards the realization or the fulfillment of that particular experience, or the desire brought forth. We have to first believe it's possible. To affirm this, we have to remember that you are the conduit that streams infinite intelligence. It may appear that the infinite intelligence is found in the outer world, which is a reflection of your own being. However, all that appears in the outer world to teach you is actually found through your inner voice conversations within, to reflect upon what is revealed in the outer world and understand and cross-reference and relate to what you desire to create. You are the operating power of this experience. This is realized through the journey of combining passive meditation and active meditation. Active meditation would be living. Passive meditation would be your meditative practice. The meditative practice, and personally I have a very simple meditative practice, which is just 20 minutes of meditation every day, focusing on my breathing, releasing thoughts. This allows you to connect with what we call our purpose. So each one of us, being an expression of the same mind, has purposes. These purposes are revealed through what we call what we love, or what we are destined to be. And the answer is known within you. A lot of times, we know this answer in earlier stages of life. But for whatever reason, we allowed the knowledge and information in the outer world to cloud this particular experience. The knowledge and information in the outer world is supportive and collaborative. It is designed to help you connect between the laws of nature, which is this experience, and the laws of creation, inner world. If there's confusion, then we release from that confusion. This confusion is identified as disempowering programming, which we then have the ability to release from. But the reflection or the image of you being a conduit for infinite intelligence allows you to reflect, cause and effect reflect, to realize when in reality this is not the case, or when it is the case. Again, facilitated through active and passive meditation. Passive meditation, your meditative practice. Active meditation is maintaining that particular state through inner voice conversations, through cause and effect reflection, through environments, and ensuring that you keep the garden of the mind pure, which is essentially living consciously. This expression is supported by beliefs that you find from within and are inspired by through others or outer world, which you assimilate and affirm, that facilitate what we call a meaningful journey all the way to the fulfillment. So you have a goal, a vision, that which you want to see brought forth. We have a journey and we have a destination. And we want the journey to be meaningful to us. It is both joyous and self-reflective. It can appear at times to be frustrating, but that is based on certain beliefs and assumptions that we have within ourselves that externalizes as those frustrating experiences in the outer world or frustrating based thoughts in the inner world. And we have the power to purify. That's why it always starts with the journey towards a destination, picking a goal. There is only one operating mind, which we conceptualize as metaphor for understanding as conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. So in actuality, there's one mind, but we separate things in our mind conceptually so we can understand. We say we have a conscious desire to do something. Much of us is subconscious and we don't understand how we are creating what we create or experiencing what we experience or behaving the way we do. That is within the realm of the subconscious. But as we bring that over to conscious awareness, then we can change that subconscious meaning and align it to what we call superconscious, which is actually the universal mind, the single mind. So we take things apart conceptually, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, to eventually put it back together. And then we understand. Now, this entire journey can be done through a place of cause and effect reflection, or as Neville Goddard puts it, yielding completely to the being within us. In my last video, I talk about this, because yielding completely to the being within us is actually allowing active meditation or divine expression. The way we do this, traditionally, and through my experience, is we do something called stepping into the flow. We have an inspired action from within, and we take that action. And through the being in that action, which is the active meditation, we release from the overthinking, overcritical mind and get into a state of expression called autotelic. In other words, we step into the flow and let go into the autotelic. This is one of the best ways to remove ourselves from states of mind that are confusion-based, frustration-based, stress-based. The truth is, you already know where you are going, and you experience the journey towards the destination, and you already know what to do. If there are experiences that create tension and frustration on the journey, then we have to remember that this tension and frustration is revealed through our experiences, but the cause is within, through our beliefs and assumptions. And we have an ability and a power to let go of those beliefs and assumptions. And the 4 ways that I do that are subconscious mind audios, self-talk, revision, which is going back and changing the meaning of past experiences that continues to affirm certain assumptions and beliefs in my reality, as well as environment, consciously choosing the certain environments that are affirmative, that are reflective of the ideal state that I want to encourage. Otherwise, we call this supportive environments. Neville Goddard says, "I cannot help but think, whatever I desire for others will be done unto me as well." This is one of the most powerful cause and effect reflections that we can have on the journey to bringing forth what we desire. What we desire for others will be done unto us. Essentially, when you experience in your mind a vision of what you desire to create, it will be reflected through the people, environment, circumstance, and information to create accordingly. So thus, we always choose what we relate to as the heart desire, that which is in harmony with those that we want to create with. And ideally, in the subconscious realm as well. In the earlier stages, we might want what we call a ego-based desire. And then as we purify the mind, we connect back to what we call the true purpose and meaning in our life. This is a journey, different stages, different experiences. But as we continue to evolve and understand the cause and effect reflection, we have a better degree of precision of working with what we call the golden rule. Always remember, mood, our mood within, materializes into people, environment, circumstance, and information to reveal the mood within. Though it may appear separate, it is actually one. It is a reflection, a direct reflection. In earlier stages, we might not consciously know this, and as we bring forth more of the superconscious and subconscious, the metaphorical understandings of the hidden realms, we become more conscious. And through this conscious understanding, we can experience reality as either affirmative or conflict. And if we experience conflict, we ask ourselves what Neville says here and reflect upon it. He says, I cannot help but think whatever I desire for others will be done unto me as well. So thus, if the reflection is according, then the question is, what are we desiring? And our goal is to understand the desire and purify the desire. This is much of the work that Sigmund Freud contributed to, and I did a very important discussion on this particular subject in Man's Search for Himself by Rollo May. I recommend you watch that video. We'll put a link in the description. Understanding that the desire is pure, and it may be interpreted from the conscious and subconscious in a certain way. The superconscious desire is pure. And upon impression of the desire in the way we believe it to be from either purity of mind or impurity of mind, and remember, this is a journey, ever-realizing journey to higher degrees of purity of mind, it will be reflected accordingly. Thus, I always say, when in doubt, place no label and allow the depths of your golden rule affirmation to express divine will meaning on your experiences with others, information, circumstances, and so forth. Otherwise, it's going to seem like a lot of work, and it may result in overthinking. Maintaining the flow and being in states of autotelic, otherwise active meditation, or incorporating it in combination with passive meditation, including meditation as part of a daily practice, is going to be the way that I've found, which I've shared with others and others have shared with me. So there's a universal commonality between this that is going to create this state of being where we automatically allow the golden rule, which is the depths of our true being, to express and create accordingly. More specifically in this discussion, assign or receive within the beliefs and assumptions that are in alignment with creating what we desire. Now, this is also referred to as intuition, which we'll talk about in a moment. So when in doubt, place no labels and allow the depths of your golden rule affirmation to express divine will meaning to what you are experiencing. And then what you'll find is then you'll maintain your flow, you'll maintain your autotelic. See, one of the things that can happen on this journey is we get into the flow, we experience states of deep autotelic where we are one with what we're doing. Actions and awareness is one. And we are in the process of bringing forth what we desire from a place of flow and autotelic, which is a state of mind. And then we may experience some interpretation of programming in the outer world, and we may assume that it is the outer world, but we have to remember that it's the cause within. And by letting go in that moment and saying, I accept it for the way it is, or I could choose my meaning that I'm giving to this particular experience or whatever it is in what we call the outer world, from a place of alignment, as in I'm going to choose a empowering way to look at it, or change the concept of myself in relation to it. Or number three, just step away from it. Let go of that environment. Go into a different environment. Either one of those can help you maintain the state of autotelic. And the state of autotelic, which we also call divine will, is also found by, if there's any confusion about those three, is going into a state of deep presence, which is the work of Eckhart Tolle. Going into a state of deep presence, and I recommend reading Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle to really understand this. We place no labels. This is also considered one of the higher states of consciousness in the works of David Hawkins. He talks about this, a high state of consciousness, in other words, known as desirelessness, which may seem contrarian on the surface, but when you work with this information, you'll understand what this means. The state of desirelessness is also known as an instant manifestation state. The desire and the expression are one. You might not even know that you're having the desire, but it turns out to be an automatic reflection of actually what your heart desires. Now, this is a journey, so on the journey, we'll experience some of those states and we'll see it happen, called those instant manifestations or instant results, miraculous results. Or it can be a journey through, here's what I want to create, and this is my journey, and I'm in flow and I'm in autotelic, and I will bring it forth, a combination. The golden rule is the true law with infinite depths of understanding because it is from the depths of being. The depths of our being, the true identity of who we are, which is ever realized on this journey, affirms with the golden rule because it is a universal law. What you put out comes back to you. What you are is reflected in the outer world. Another saying we've heard in the personal development movement is you don't get what you want, you get who you are. And what you believe will be expressed in the outer world, or as stated in the Bible, as you believe, so it shall be done unto you. These are all aspects and different perspectives that are similar and may have some nuanced differences in relation to the golden rule. Divine will is impressing the subconscious to superconscious to affirm itself as what we refer to as the heart desire. As we continue the journey of releasing disempowering programming from our mind, releasing, cause and effect reflection is very important, and cause and effect reflection can also occur instantaneously through passive meditation. Passive meditation has the power to transform ourselves and release disempowering beliefs without conscious cause and effect reflection work. And by cause and effect reflection work, I'm referring to if you have a certain experience in the outer world and you say, this is the disempowering belief I have within myself, I'm going to change it with affirmations or imagination or revision. Meditation also has the power to do that automatically, autotelically. And so meditation will allow a person to connect with their heart desire as well as be able to express divine will. And they will notice as we continue the meditative practices, and I've been doing so since 2008, that a lot of the so-called inner work is done automatically. It happens through us because one conceptual way of looking at it is that through meditation, we're aligning the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. Or another way of looking at it is we're aligning the heart and mind relationship. Or another way of looking at it is the physical part of our brain that interprets reality from a physical perspective, the physical part of our brain that refers to the emotional realm as one reality, and the other part of our brain that's aligned with the mental realm and sees that as reality, and the other part of our brain that some of us might not be consciously aware of that sees reality from a spiritual realm is all aligned. So we're aligning the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual through the meditation. Now, another way that I've found to also align this is through what we call active meditation, which is picking a goal and bringing it forth. Because it is in the journey that when we pick a goal and bring it forth, or the journey of, between the inception of the idea and the bringing forth of the idea, that we experience this journey, purification of the mind, otherwise known as active meditation. Now, if it doesn't feel like active meditation, then reflect back, because it's the assumptions and beliefs that we're assigning to the people, environment, circumstance, and information in the outer world that is creating that experience in which we feel a disconnect, which is facilitated by what we call overthinking, an overly active conscious mind, otherwise known as the ego mind. And what we want to do is release from that and allow the divine expression to flow through us simply by feeling our tension in our body to what we are experiencing in the outer world and asking ourselves, do we accept it? Number one is being present, bringing right back to the center of this moment and realize that all that actually exists is in this moment. And from there we can, if you choose to, say, do I want to change the meaning of this and relate it to affirmative to what I desire to create? Do I want to accept it the way it is, whatever it is that shows up? Accept it, full acceptance, creating peace within. First way creates peace within. Second way creates peace within. Or number three, do I let it go? Do I step away from it? Now, the answers to this accurately are found what we call intuition. They are accurately found via our intuition. The truth is, at this level of depth of the journey, that only you know the answers, and the answers are found within. As mentioned, that the outer world, we have these laws of nature, which are very important to understand, but we don't want to confuse them with the laws of creation, which is the inner world. We want to bring them into alignment, and they are in alignment through the being in harmony, otherwise known as the self-image or the identity. And I refer to the Robert Dilts model a lot. I watched a video I did on the Robert Dilts model because this can help us conceptually understand. Our goal is to bring the vision into the environment, and it is aligned in between working with the conceptual model, just like the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, with the Robert Dilts model, which represents the following layers. First, on the top, you've got vision, then you've got identity, otherwise known as the self-image, then you've got the values and beliefs that flow from the identity, that reveal the identity. Then you've got the capabilities. For example, if you're an entrepreneur or you're creating success in the realm of being an athlete or a musician, then there are certain skills and capabilities that you would cultivate, and we want to cultivate these skills from a place of active meditation, one with flow-based. When you are in flow, when you are practicing your capabilities, you'll notice that you are acquiring the skill a lot faster, which is the essence of flow, where challenge and skill align to create an autotelic experience or a flow-based experience. And you feel it. You feel in flow, engaged, and one with. And from there, we've got our behaviors, and then we've got the environment, the conduit, divine expression. Now, this is facilitated, as mentioned, through our intuition. So we have to learn to further trust and honor and understand from the depths of our being that this intuition, visions and images, or hunches and inspiration, otherwise known as the sixth sense. Intuition is a spiritual faculty and does not explain, but simply points the way. Florence Scovel Shinn. What has externalized on the world, or as reflection in the world, is assumed as fact from the state of mind that revealed it. You've heard this many times in the personal development space. Change your state, change your reality. Change your state, change your experience. Neville Goddard speaks about states of mind. And we're going through states of mind, and we could choose different states of mind. And through these different states of mind, reality is experienced differently. For example, my own personal experience is by maintaining a certain state of mind, people reflect what is in that state of mind. So if I'm in a flow state, joyous state, and a creative expression state, I will notice that people also want to talk about those things and experience reality. It might not necessarily involve conversations, but I feel a resonance with people in that state of mind. If I go into a disempowering state, then I will see it in the outer world as a reflection of it. In a way, it's the golden rule. And that particular state expressed is disempowerment or conflict with others. Same environment, different states of mind. I've actually done this experiment. I've gone into the same environment, exact same environment, and gone into that environment in different states of mind. One state of mind was more of a flow-based, one with positive, you could say, state of mind. And the people, environment, circumstance, and information in that environment reflected it. I began to understand how they were representing the mood within me from a place of alignment, of congruence that I wanted it. And the other experience was I went into that same environment from a state of mind that was, I would say, disempowering or in conflict with the outer world. And then what I experienced is the conflict through various shapes and forms with the information, environment, circumstance, and the people in that particular same environment. So states of mind cause certain interpretations. And how did I understand this or bring myself into a deeper level of understanding? Certain information revealed it that was created based on the depths of this knowledge, intuition-based information, such as the information by James Allen, Neville Goddard, and Florence Scovel Shinn, as well as my own intuition, inner voice conversations. And then I tested it. I tested it by actively putting myself in different states of mind and experiencing that same environment to reveal. And I've done this for many years. I remember when I first discovered this, and I've shared this many times in my video, I realized that I was able to create success from a state of mind called force, and I was able to create success from a state of mind called flow or autotelic. And I choose to have more flow and autotelic to create success because then I enjoy the journey and the destination and see it as one. Those are facilitated by states of mind. Now, intuition will bring you there. So if you go into that particular environment where there's conflict and you look for answers, you'll get conflict-based answers to affirm the state within. If you go into that same environment in the state of mind of related affirmation, you're going to find related affirmation-based, positive affirmation-based conversations and information to affirm. Now, it doesn't mean that's going to be completely one way or another. You'll still find multi-dimensions of what we would say affirmative positive or affirmative negative in both environments. That's why we always say that the light exists everywhere. This essentially means that there's always some degree of light, some degree of positive in any environment. And if you really want to understand this deeper, I recommend reading the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, where they found themselves in the concentration camps and still were able to find some light within there. They were able to do it because they knew that the light exists everywhere. Limited thinking are divine revelations of the past for mind purification. So once you bring yourself into a certain state of mind, or we call this level of consciousness or level of understanding between the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, you now see limited thinking as your friend, as your sparring partner, as a revelation. It doesn't mean that you identify with the limited thinking, but you are thanking the divine will from within to reveal your thanking for the revelations of the limited thinking, because now you have the power to change it. Because you would say that when you align with divine will, the mind purification happens on its own. Again, what I'm doing here is I'm taking this entire facilitation process of discussion and breaking it down into a form of cause and effect reflection during active meditation or going about doing everything that you do each day. But all of this is actually happening within the passive meditation, although you might not be consciously aware of it, because at that meditative state, you've connected deeply into your being. Neville says, an awakened imagination works with a purpose. An awakened imagination works with a purpose. If we feel that we don't have purpose in our life, or there's less and less purpose, then it's important to pick any goal and commit to it using this process and the other aspects that I've covered on this channel, and see it all the way till completion. Because it is in that journey where you purify the mind. All these things that we're talking about here will make even more sense to you, and they will become part of the journey. And another thing that will happen is you will discover further and deeper purposes within yourself until you align with what we call your true divine purpose, your true purpose in life, which will be a combination of a lot of different things, granted, in many different important areas of your life that reflect in purpose-based relationships, purpose-based family life, purpose-based intellectual understandings, purpose-based career or contribution, and purpose-based service to others. Service to others is essentially the golden rule. Do unto others as you wish done unto yourself, expressed as experience of service to others. And each person has their own service to others. One person's service might be through entrepreneurship. Another person's service might be through helping others who don't have financial resources in various shapes or form, and that could be mix and match with entrepreneurship. Service to others could be helping others and healing certain past traumas in their life. Service to others can be raising a family. Service to others could be just general kindness towards each other and reflecting what we call inner connection to the divine will in each person. In other words, we call this blessing each person. Exclusion out of consciousness through evolving beliefs. So there may be these persistent disempowering thoughts and beliefs that get excluded out of consciousness. And all of a sudden, you're in a certain stage in your life where you can't even imagine that you had that disempowering belief that you had about yourself and others in the past. And one of the commonalities that you'll find with those that experience this is they have a deep connection with their sense of purpose. When they have connected with their sense of purpose, they can reflect back on the journey and they can really see the contrast of certain disempowering beliefs that they had. So some can experience this journey as evolving past beliefs to the point where they completely forgot about it. But then we call this humility, relating to others. We see that others, for whatever reason, have identified with these beliefs. They understand that, and then they know how to communicate in a way that relates to those individuals to help them evolve the beliefs. This is essentially how we do marketing in the space of personal development or anything related to healing others. We connect to where they are, we understand them, we communicate in a way that they really feel that we understand them, because we know that those beliefs exist. And then step by step, we raise them to higher levels of empowerment, which I believe what Neville did through his conversations. So as you evolve in your understanding, when you go back to Neville's lectures, you will understand it even more, because I believe he was communicating from that perspective. The depths of the information is further unraveled. As I had learned this from one of the quotes from the Emerald Tablet, it said, "If the light exists within you, then the lights in these tablets will respond," which means the same thing, is that information presents itself differently as you continue to change yourself within, more accurately put, aligned with divine will. So expressing through the depths of your divine will is also the divine reading the outer world to reflect back to the individualized aspect of you called the conscious and subconscious, the part that makes you the individual in relation to the superconscious. So as stated in the beginning, this is actually one mind, individualized. And we like it that way because we want to have individual expressions. The one mind is experiencing this, what we call reality, from many different dimensions and many different expressions. Behaviors are also reflections of congruence or incongruence with the divine will. So when someone says, I am not having an optimal behavior, I don't have an optimal behavior, I have a disempowering behavior or this behavior, we have to understand the desire that drives that behavior. And we go in, and when we understand that desire, then we realize that the desire, when understood, is interpreted, or we evolve the interpretation of that desire. And that desire is not suppressed or repressed, but expressed in a way that's in alignment with the divine will. And then they appear to all of a sudden have positive behaviors or affirmative behaviors. And this is individualized, as mentioned. One person's positive behavior might be a person's misaligned or behavior that would be not in harmony with their purpose. For example, one person's behavior might be to improve their communication skills, while the other person, that right there is not something that they desire to do. And they might be forcing themselves to improve their communication skills as far as verbal public speaking skills, let's be specific, verbal public speaking skills. But actually, their form of communication might be through poetry or through musical expressions, through musical instrument. When they find that that behavior was to be manifested through the musical expression, they've essentially allowed that pure desire, which comes from the superconscious, to express through them, and thus experiencing what we call deep states of flow and autotelic in their creative expression, otherwise known as active meditation or divine will. Now, all of this is designed to help us understand to a deeper degree that the journey is as valuable as the destination. We pick a goal, we pick a desire, and we see it all the way till completion. We, in the process, learn about ourselves, and we purify our mind, thus living more so each day the golden rule, plus knowing that we can trust ourselves and listen to ourselves, listening to our own intuition. We connect back to deeper levels of our purpose, and it really starts with what James Allen says here. The will to do, which is the divine will, comes from the knowledge that we can do. So there's a beginning. And during the journey, to keep this journey as smooth as possible, so we don't experience as much chaos and frustration, but if we do, we understand that it's contributing as a reflection to evolve ourselves within. We remember this very important concept. The infinite ways of bringing forth the infinite visions are revealed through inner metaphorical and archetypal journeys. Inner metaphorical and archetypal journeys. We create conceptualizations in our mind of archetypes, and these archetypes externalize as people archetypes. We construct in our mind metaphorical journeys, such as the hero's journey by Joseph Campbell, and it externalized as our own life experience as the hero's journey. There are a lot of similarities of metaphorical and archetypal aspects that exist within our conscious awareness as well as our subconscious. The more we understand these elements within our own psychology, we're able to understand why we have the externalized experiences, or the persistent thoughts that are either what we call aligned thoughts or misaligned thoughts. And through this understanding of the metaphorical journey, that's why I recommend reading The Alchemist, where he did a great job of infusing the archetypes in the hero's journey of the alchemist. Through this process, we can understand deeper, we can look at all bodies of knowledge that have been created in the outer world as reflections of what is going on in the world within. Now, this brings us into a deeper understanding. The deeper understanding is removing the complexity and convolution, because a lot of times what happens is we look at this outer world, we can get too identified with certain information and see it as literal and interpretations of something that is actually in conflict. But as we release from the interpretations and see this all as journey within and journey expressed, as stated, Neville has mentioned many times, we are actually all imagination. And the imagination is expressed or experienced in our mind through metaphors or archetypes. And that's why if you talk to different individuals and you say, how do you facilitate your inner voice conversation? They're probably going to say to you different ways that they do it. Some use invisible counsel, some connect to the depth of their own being, have certain kinds of conversations with certain archetypes, and these archetypes reveal aspects about themselves. This is very important to reflect upon, and I trust that this information is going to be very valuable and contributing to further depths of understanding. So let's reflect back to the start of this journey when we were discussing that there's two ways of living, passive meditation and active meditation, to be in alignment with the divine will, which is essentially, in essence, meaning being on purpose. One is through the meditation, through the meditative practice. We bring ourselves more into active meditation living. And number two is as we live a conscious life, cause and effect reflection, we experience more flow and autotelic, thus we are applying active meditation. And what I found is that through active meditation, through the being of congruence, as Neville puts it, allowing the being within you to externalize it, and if there's friction within, we release the friction, we get deeper in our passive meditation. And as we get deeper in our passive meditation practice, we get deeper in our active meditation practice. And bringing this together, if you understand the story of the Buddha and the metaphorical and the archetypal journey that occurred during his process of passive meditation within, then this will make even more sense. If you want a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.